I'm a lurker on the subreddit, for the most part. Recently, I've seen a lot of talk on here about Ouija boards being bullcrap and bunk, so I thought I would share a story that, to me at least, refutes this. Honestly, I suppose if I hadn't had the experience that I had, I would think they were just toys as well. In the time since this story happened, nothing even close to it has ever happened again, and I've tried multiple times with multiple people. Also, I live with a serious skeptic, my husband. He has told me that he would never believe this story if he didn't know me so intimately, and knows I wouldn't make it up. And if the story hadn't been corroborated by other members of my family who are well beyond trustworthy. So I do understand that some disbelief is going to come into play here. All I can say is that the following is entirely true, and you can either take my word or not. So this happened when I was about 16 years old. I'm 38 now, so that puts it around 1991 or so. It was New Year's Eve. My parents had a party to go to, and for some reason I can't remember right now, I wasn't going out. My older brother and his partner, along with my older sister, all decided to come over and stay in with me. Even at 16, my parents didn't care if I stayed home and got drunk with my much older brother and sister, 8 years and 13 years older than I, respectively. So the four of us proceeded to get entirely wasted. Accompanied by a procession of mixed drinks and champagne, we watched the ball drop on TV and did the usual New Year's Eve stuff. But after a while, we started to get bored and look for things to do. We played some cards, but after a while, that got boring as well. I suggested playing with the Ouija board. My friends and I had bought a Ouija board to play with a few weeks earlier, and since my parents were the most liberal, I was the one hanging onto it at my house. We'd done a little messing around with it, the usual teenage bullcrap and accusations of pushing the planchette. Nothing had happened up until now. Being drunk and open-minded, the other three agreed, and we got out the board. At first, we contacted a spirit that claimed to be named Naomi, and my sister remembered that my great-grandmother's middle name had been Naomi. She hated her first name, and we chatted with that spirit for a while. Nothing momentous was said, and certainly not anything that would make your hair stand on end. My parents came in, and we stopped playing while my brother had to help haul my drunken mother to bed. After that, my sister and my brother's partner were getting drowsy, and both of them decided to crash for the night. My brother and I, however, decided to stay up and keep playing around with the board for a while. It was nearly 3 a.m. at this point. At first, we didn't get anything at all, and we sort of stopped asking questions, just talking with our hands resting on the planchette. Then, it began to move. We asked, "Who are you?" It answered, "Eugene," an unlikely name, and we were still fairly drunk, so we laughed at this quite a lot. We asked, "Why are you contacting us, Eugene?" We received the answer, "Afraid." That seemed a bit more serious. We asked, "Why are you afraid, Eugene?" It replied, "Music, music," over and over, nonsense. Then we got a series of numbers, puzzling. My brother had the bright idea to turn the radio to the station indicated by the numbers. To our surprise, there really was a radio station there. The song "Don't Leave Me Stranded" by Heart was playing. I thought my brother was just playing off what he was hearing and was screwing with me. Then it started saying, "Don't go, don't leave me, don't go, church, church, afraid, don't go," over and over and over again. We assured it that we weren't going to go, but it dwindled down into nonsense after a while. It was getting really late, or early, and we decided to go to bed. The next morning, which was nearer to afternoon, we were having New Year's Day breakfast when the phone rang. My dad answered it and went off into the bedroom to talk. We were still eating when he came back out and said it was my grandmother on the phone. Apparently, her brother Eugene in Arizona, whom we weren't even aware of the existence of, had a heart attack the night before. He had died multiple times on the table during that night and had to be revived. We were stunned. A day or two later, my grandmother called to update my dad, and he told her the story. She was stunned into silence. She said that when Eugene had regained consciousness, the first thing he had said was that he was afraid for his soul because he hadn't been to church in 20 years and he wanted to go to church immediately and have a preacher come in. It was almost as if we had been some sort of lifeline for him that night. I myself am firmly agnostic. I don't know what's out there, but I do know because of this experience that there's something, and I've been fascinated by the paranormal ever since. This happened on October 3rd, 2014. My friends and I decided to spend the night aboard the Queen Mary, an old cruise ship liner that looks just like the Titanic and now has a permanent residence as a floating hotel in Long Beach, California. I've only used a Ouija board one other time in my life, the year anniversary of my grandma's death in 2007. It worked ridiculously well and freaked me out so much that I vowed to never use one again, but my curiosity got the best of me. The scarier part of all of this is that we didn't even have a Ouija board on us. We made one in the most ghetto way possible, out of two small pieces of paper, taped together with band-aids, and used the plastic band-aid box as the pointer. We wrote the letters and words in pen. It worked just as well as the real Ouija board I used before. I'll let you listen to the recording once someone shows me how to attach it, but here's a summary of the events. One of the scariest nights in my life. Our friend's brother recently committed suicide a few months prior with zero explanation. No history of depression, no problems at home, no note. Just one night he decides to shoot himself in the head. Needless to say, my friend is still very upset and confused about the whole ordeal and wants answers. He's been to psychics and stuff, and the only reason I agreed to do this was because he insisted, and I wanted to help him relieve some of the pain. Plus, I figured it wouldn't work anyway because it was made out of paper. We asked the board if anyone wanted to talk to us. Immediately, it moved to yes. I would have thought someone was messing with us, but one, I felt the same exact eerie pull I did with the real Ouija board, and two, given my friend's vulnerable state, I doubt my friends would be so cruel. Okay, so the board is moving. Cool. I think we asked it a name, and it clearly spelled out Z-A-C-K. My friend's brother's name is Michael. So we're asking it questions, and this is the truncated version because I don't remember everything. You'll have to listen. And I just remember it continuing to answer questions saying Z-A-C-K. We asked how old it was, and it said 27 or some number in the late 20s. My friend Danielle was worried because she had a cousin named Zach with cerebral palsy, and she was scared that he just died or something, but he's much younger. At one point on the recording, you'll hear us laugh and apologize for having a ghetto board because it gets stuck in the middle where it's taped with band-aids. We didn't hear this, but I swear I can hear someone whisper, "It's okay," here. Can you hear the EVP? But that's the least scariest thing of the night. What happened later still sends shivers down my spine. We were all sitting on the ground next to the bed. The door to our room is about 5 feet away. This was around 2 or 3 a.m. I forget what we asked it, but all four of us clearly hear someone, as if they're standing right outside the door, say, "It's Zach." It was so clear that I thought someone had been listening to our conversation and wanted to mess with us. You can't really hear it on the recording, but you hear us all react, and me and Danielle start crying. I swear we didn't imagine it. Can someone maybe try to amplify it with software and see what they hear? This isn't the first time I've caught disembodied voices and EVPs on the ship. Danielle went to bed because she was too freaked out to continue, but me and my 2 guy friends decided to keep going. This is on a separate, longer recording session that I still haven't listened to though. We did at some point get in touch with Michael, but he didn't seem to want to say much. I started talking to my grandparents, and to just prove how real it was, I took my hands off the board, wrote answers to the questions in a journal, and had the 2 guys use it. It got them right every time. It spelled out addresses, street names, my dad's middle name. I was amazed, but also creeped out. What if it was just something pretending to be my loved ones? I'm kind of too scared to listen to that EVP. But it wasn't until morning that we learned of something even scarier. When we all woke up, Danielle started laughing and kind of joking about how Scotty woke up in the middle of the night screaming bloody murder with a night terror. The other guy, Daniel, who was sleeping in my bed, said he heard the whole thing. I was unconscious this whole time, so I thought. When I told Danielle, I don't remember that. Her face turned white. She said she heard me sounding scared, saying parts of the Lord's Prayer over and over again repeatedly. She thought I was freaked out by Scotty and was praying to comfort myself. Then she asked me, "Did you hear that?" referring to Scotty. And I just said, "Yes, shh." Both me and Scotty don't remember any of that at all. It's like we were possessed. Both Daniel and Danielle heard it. Danielle also said that she felt like someone was grabbing and pulling on her all night, too. Another coincidence was the day after our night at the Queen Mary, the new season of Ghost Hunters premiered, and it took place on the Queen Mary. I watched it, but no mention of a ghost named Zach.